Hey y'all, welcome to my channel Reviewed, where we talk about all things television and film from today and yesteryear. So I wanted to come on here and do somewhat of a recap of the last two episodes of Ghost Powerbook 2 from season 4. For me, the one thing that the writers of this show will do, they will give us an episode where they will saturate it with so much and then turn around and give us an episode that does not necessarily give anything, if that makes sense. I know that this is the last season, but for me personally, this first half has been, it has not pulled me in like it normally does. I feel personally like it's a run on sentence every episode. And that's just my opinion. But I am hopeful that it'll get better the second half. Um, so let's just get into these episodes. So the episode from the week before is when, basically everything unraveled in reference to Monet finding out that Diana and Drew are the ones that set her up to be killed. So in this scene here, she's talking to Kane and Tyreek and letting them know that it's on site. When they run into Drew and Diana, take them out because what they tried to do to her cannot be tolerated. Point blank, period. And here we have Monet finding the location of Drew and Diana. What I did like about this particular scene is Drew was able to express himself to Monet. He basically told Monet about herself. And Monet is my fave. Okay. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Monet, but she needed to hear that. And I'm glad they allowed Drew to do it. I do not like Drew. I do not like his character at all. He is too emotional. But I do like the fact that in this moment, he was able to stand 10 toes down in how he felt about his mother, and he let her know. Of course, she tries to pop him, things go awry. They end up running out of the motel, and of course, nothing ends up happening. And also in that episode, we get a moment between Janet and Monet. Monet is basically reflecting on her role as a mother, and she's talking to Janet, just asking her, have I always been this type of person? What kind of mother have I been to my kids? And before this conversation even happened, we had been getting flashbacks of Monet when she was younger and how she got started in the game and how she eventually inaugurated her children into that same lifestyle. And in this moment here is when Janet basically tells Monet, you got your head so far up your own behind that you don't even realize that your daughter's pregnant. For me personally, when they started showing the flashbacks of Monet's life, I knew then that it was going to basically be the line drawn in the sand for her to have forgiveness for her children once she did find out that Drew and Diana were the ones that tried to have her killed, because it only made sense. Um, Throughout the last three seasons, we never had gotten necessarily that much of a background from Monet's life. And once they started showing those flashbacks, I knew that that was going to bring the resolution to how she was going to handle her children ultimately once she started to reflect on the way that she treated them when they were younger, because they did not ask for that lifestyle. She brought them into it. And so her having this conversation with Janet basically made the light bulb go off in her head, and she, of course, pulls the plug on having Diana and Drew killed. We also got to see Celine on that episode. This is where Diana went for sanctuary. She felt like that was her best option while Drew was trying to go get the money up or whatnot. Celine was the safe place for her. And I'm wondering if, even though Celine is no longer on the show, if they brought him back for this moment because possibly the baby is not going to be Tyreek's, or once Diana finds out that Tyreek is the one who took out Celine unintentionally, that she is either going to terminate the pregnancy or she is just going to completely cut Tyreek off, like completely. So I'm just wondering what, outside of the fact that this is where she went to hide out, what else is going to come of this in reference to Celine? Because let's think about it. We really still do not know who his parents are. or what they do for a living. All we know is that he was basically portraying himself as this struggle kid in college. But I could be wrong. I do not remember the reveal of exactly where his wealth come from. So we'll just see how this ends up playing out, or even if it will. But I am curious to find out what Diana is going to do with the information once she finds out that Celine had been taken out by Tariq. And so this part of the episode is when Monet calls Kane and she lets him know that she's calling off the hit on Diana and Drew. You know, she wants to save her family. But before this happened, we got a scene with Kane and Drew where they're fighting, and Drew, once again, he gets to step up to the plate and he basically lets Kane know how he feel about him. And he, in so many words, lets Kane know that Kane is Monet's bitch. And, you know, that he basically does anything Monet tells him to do. And that he is really mad that Drew and Diana tried to take out Monet behind his back. That's why he really in his feelings about it. But nonetheless, of course, we end up here. And when Monet calls Kane, and the way that she talks to him and the things that she says, it just proved Drew's point from earlier in the episode. And for me, my personal opinion, I could be completely wrong. I believe Kane is going to end Monet. I feel like he is going to end her because we also saw in the episode when Noma calls him a mama's boy. And the way that Monet talked to him on the phone, you know, just basically letting him know to call off everything, she emasculates her sons quite a bit with the way that she talks to them and her delivery and what she's trying to say. And I think that Kane is going to end Monet. I think he's going to take her out. I could be wrong, but that is just my opinion because he is tired. And I also feel like if he does, I feel like Drew is going to end up taking out Kane. Because let's be honest, regardless of whatever they are supposed to let go of, it's never going to end the vitriol between the two of them, Kane and Drew, because of just the rift in their family as a whole. But I kind of got a feeling that Kane is going to take out Monet and Drew is going to take out Kane if they are not to survive, you know. But I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. But ultimately, Kane does whoop Drew's behind, which I was not mad about at all. Because again, Drew is emotional. He had his moments in this episode, but he gets on my nerves. I mean, that's just all I can say. So moving on to episode 5, here is where we have Braden talking to his girlfriend, and he finds out that she has sickle cell. I like the fact that they are highlighting sickle cell. They also highlighted it in The Shy with Keisha's son. But basically, she's letting Brandon know that the disease affects Black people and just some of the things that she has to deal with in reference to pain and other things that her body goes through when she is having a flare up or whatnot. So we also kind of get somewhat of an idea as to why she does other drugs as well. But you know, Braden basically is letting her know, you know, I got you, you know, anything you need, just let me know and I won't tell anybody, blah, blah, blah. And the girl was like, I'm not fragile, you know, you don't have to handle me as such, but you know, thanks anyway. So we also have a moment where Monet, you know, she invited Kane over to have breakfast with Diana, Drew, and her. This is her start to trying to salvage the foundation of her family. And Kane walks in and he see Drew and Diana. He was like, yeah, we family, but I don't have to break bread with them. He was like, Diana, I hear congratulations is in order. I cracked up because the way she looked at him, like, get out of my womb, Negro. But anyway, this is Monet's attempt to try to move forward. And her moving forward still consists of them trying to be at the top of the drug business. And she does not understand that her children no longer want to live that life. They no longer want to be a part of it. But of course, ultimately later on in the episode, you know, Drew agrees to one more run or whatnot, just one more big whatever. and he's like, I'm gonna need a large cut and then I'm out. So I'm curious to see how that's going to end up happening, because her trying to save her family, she is still, the direction she's going in ultimately is going to end up in a pretty big conundrum. I'm pretty sure. And also we get Noma, she goes to one of the parties on campus because of course earlier in the episode, after Tariq and her daughter hooked up, the daughter ends up going home and she has a package of Tariq and Braden's product, and Noma finds it, and basically she is letting Tyreek know, you are not supposed to be dealing anything. And Tyreek, of course, he's playing it off like he don't know what she's talking about, and fortunately he does not necessarily have to own up to it, because her daughter ends up showing up at the party, and I had no clue that her daughter did not know her mom was a queen pin. Like, girl. And because Noma basically lets Kane know, we're going to have to approach things differently, because of course they were there to run up on Tyreek and get rid of him, but now that she knows that her daughter knows him, they're associated with each other, she's basically saying they got to move differently because she doesn't want her daughter to know what she does for a living. And I was like, what, girl, please. But yeah. So Noma, she is on to Tyreek and Braden. She knows that they're are now issuing product, and of course she has a problem with it. So Tyreek is looking for Braden. He walks in on Braden snorting dope. I do not like the fact that y'all got Braden snorting some doggone dope. Like, I get it. He's going through a lot. He's dealing with a lot, and so is Tyreek. Okay, Braden, he may have lost his family, but his family is still there. So he needs to learn how to cope. I do not like the fact that they got him so gung ho about this little dimple faced heifer who poured some doggone acid in Tyreek drink. Are you kidding me? Tyreek is having all these freaking hallucinations and all these visions and things like that. And then when Braden go in there to get him, and basically it's like, oh, you was tripping. They I heard they was lacing people drinking. It's been something they've been doing on campus. Like, you caping for this girl? I do not like that at all. I do not like the fact that they have Braden going down this path. We've already gone through a period where Braden and Tyreek were not talking to each other. Like, if anything, they need to be sticking together. And then you let Tyreek know that you telling this chick all y'all business. Tyreek's like, what are you doing? Like, you are literally making decisions that make no sense to or go along with what y'all trying to accomplish. Like, it. Oh, I don't like it at all. I do not like it at all. And Braden needs to be careful, because we don't know where this little heifer came from. We do not know who this little girl is or where she came from. He really needs to be careful. I do not like the way that they have him moving in reference to him snorting dope and then lying to Tyreek. Like, this is the last thing we need, is for them to basically be not on the same page. I don't like it at all. And I hope y'all ain't trying to get rid of Braden either, because that's not gonna fly. Listen, one thing's for certain, two things for sure. When you see Michael Ealy on your television screen, he either gonna be a stalker, he gonna either be a killer, or he gonna be a dirty cop. And I don't know if I really want to call him a dirty cop, but I guess he kind of is, because he basically told Monet and Drew, you can get rid of as many criminals as you want, but you better not harm no innocent people, because basically drugs don't be in the street; they just gonna be in the street. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going to come of this whole scenario. Um, and we also saw him earlier. I guess that was he was talking to his wife. Like, is he okay? Because we saw all the medication in that medicine cabinet when he opened that mirror. Okay, so I'm like, are we going to get a usual Michael Ealy moment with him being just a freaking sociopath? I don't know, but something is definitely up. He did not spare Monet and Drew because he's okay with them getting rid of criminals in the streets. He's definitely up to something. So the episode basically ends where Diana and Tyreek, they're at the doctor's office. She's having an ultrasound on the baby because she does let Tyreek know that she is going to keep the baby. Um, Also, when Tyreek was having those hallucinations, later on when he has a conversation with Braden, he basically realizes how much he's like his dad. And basically that regardless of him trying to not be like his father, he is exactly like him. But in this moment here, when Diana, has the ultrasound, she lets Tyreek know. She's like, I don't want to be nothing like Monet. I don't want to raise my child in the life. She said, if she has a boy, she does want to name Lorenzo. And Tyreek was like, my dad tried to keep us away from this life as much as he wanted to keep us away from it. I ended up falling in it anyway. But Diana's like, I'll be a single mom. I'm not dealing with you. I'm not dealing with no foolishness around my kid. I'm just not with it. And she also asks, Tyreek had he heard from Salim. Just like, I've been calling him, I haven't heard from him. And of course, Tyreek is lying. He's just like, I ain't no, I pulled up on him and he told me where he was at. So I guess maybe he just skedaddled, basically, because he sold you out. When in actuality, we already know what the outcome is. So I guess we will see how the show ends. Again, for me, a lot of the times the writers gives us too much and then too little. I get, because from what I hear, the reason why the show is ending is because they could no longer afford the production or whatever. That's what I heard. I don't know. So I guess them cramming these episodes, it's annoying. I'm sorry. I do feel like this half of the season could have been at least 7 episodes. Like, seriously. Episode 4 had so much in it, and I'm glad that they didn't leave us necessarily with a cliffhanger on the last episode, but I do feel like they just crammed too much in these episodes, because for this to be a mid-season finale, it was very lackluster, in my opinion. This is my opinion. Okay. And again, I do not like the road that it appears that they're going to have Brayden on, because I don't think it's necessary. And then, who is that dude that was trying to hand Brayden up, the one that came whooped, which I was glad to see? Like, who is he? His acting is not that great. But anyway, I don't know who he is, but is he really necessary? Because he can go. But anyway, guys, this is just somewhat of a recap and just a lot of my feelings about what I have seen as far as this first part of the final season. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but like I said, I do feel like Monet may not survive. I feel like Kane may not survive. And I hope that Brayden survives, but I don't know what they are planning on doing with him, since they got him snorting dope with the dimple face heifer. I don't like it at all. Oh my God. Well, that's all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you to my subscribers, and thank you to everyone who has watched my videos. I really appreciate the support. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.